Welcome to Guided Podcast. And today I am totally and utterly delighted to have with me the wonderful Andy Bounds. Andy, absolutely great to have you with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. How does Andy end up on this program? Well, we were running a mastermind group, the Elite Mastermind Group. It's Citizen M at Tower Hill, and in that group, which is quite a small group, I think we had 3 UK and 3 international people in the room. And 2 of the people came up to me and said, "Oh my God, it's Andy Bounds in the room next door." One of them said, "I've never paid a trainer to come into my agency ever, apart from paying Andy Bounds." Andy Bounds was the man that I've actually paid. That was David Gilroy from Conscious Solutions. You may or may not remember him, known as the Orange Man in Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just had to have you on the program, Andy. So for people who don't know who Andy Bounds is, who are you?
So I am someone who helps organizations sell more. Really, that's my only job. So when working with, for example, digital agencies, how can we get even more clients paying us even more money in a way that everyone's happy with? So I'm not really into hard selling. I hate that. I'm not into cold calling. I hate that. There's loads of things that I hate, but there's lots of things you can do in a very charming way. So it's like charming sales, I suppose. That's what I try and help people do.
So, I mean, we're in this world where, sales are tight. Mm-hmm. Sales are difficult. I mean, both of us could argue that when have sales not been tight? I mean, there were times in the past where you wandered around with a butterfly net on the high street and caught mm-hmm. customers. Those days certainly seem to be gone. I mean, where do you think people start when they have that board meeting or that senior management team meeting? They're going, "Yeah, we've not hit the numbers again. Like fourth month in a row, second quarter in a row, we're down on numbers. We're going to have to start looking at headcount." And I think what's interesting on top of that is we've got this sort of uber sort of existential threat of AI is going to eat our lunch and other people can do stuff cheaper and quicker. And there's a lot of people having real sort of, am I in the right business type thoughts? But how do we kind of get this sales thing sorted out? Where do people start? What's your view?
So, I mean, the first thing is, if anyone is thinking any of those things you've just said, Robert, you are not alone. Most times I go to something now and there's Q&A at the end. The first question involves AI in some way. Yeah. I don't quite know what it is, but I know it's going to make my life worse. It is how a lot of people say from a sales point of view. Like, great from an efficiency point of view, but am I going to be replaced? So there's lots of fear around. But you said before about hitting numbers. Ultimately, sales is about 3 numbers that matter. Number one, how many potential customers do you speak to? I think in the old days, you might call that opportunity generation or lead generation. So number one, how many meetings do you have? Number 2, what's your conversion like? So do you convert them or not? And number 3, and this is something not a lot of people focus on and they should do, is how do you turn 1 sale into 2 sales? And they're the only 3 numbers that matter. So number 1, get more meetings. Number 2, convert more meetings. And then number 3, turn that first sale into a second sale. And if you improve all those numbers, your sales go up. It is a mathematical certainty. And if you are not hitting your numbers, then 1 or more of those 3 aren't right.
And the reply's got to be, yeah, Andy, we've heard this all before. We had a sales trainer in last month that said we need to get more sales. So we're on LinkedIn and we're hitting LinkedIn every day. We're catching up with 10 people, 20 people. And yeah, people talk about referrals and that's none of that stuff kind of seems to work for us. I mean, that's kind of what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, and if you don't do it right, it won't work for you. And the stuff that you always should have been doing, but you maybe could have get away without it in your butterfly net years. Now you've got to be really on it. So you said before about referrals. So this is a good case in point. We all know referrals are good. Any single person listening to me and you rabbit on now will say, yes, I know referrals are good. And then I'm going to say, and if you want more referrals, you're going to have to ask for them. And everyone listening will go, yes, of course, I'm going to have to ask for them. And then I say, and if the way to make sure you ask for them is to schedule time every week to ask for them. So you need to put time in your diary set aside to ask for them. And everyone listening to this will go, well, yes, I understand the logic of that. Yeah, but do you do it? How much time is set aside for it? Do you have a script that you're going to ask? Do you know the best people to ask? And so referrals are a wonderful idea in theory, but actually getting down and dirty and making it part of your day job rather than something you fit around the day job, well, that's totally different. So one of the things about being better at selling is actually doing stuff, not just knowing stuff.
Okay, so come on, you've kind of opened up a bit of Pandora's box, and you shut it again, which is
I thought you might have a second question here, sir.
Which is entirely unfair. So I would be fascinated to know what your idea about how people should go about referrals. You talked about a couple of things. You just lobbed it in very gently. Referral script. And you also talked about who you should be talking to, but I mean, here we are. You're a digital agency. You work with sports brands. Where do you start? Do you get your black book out and start at A and work your way through? Do you write a gold list? Do you look at what your competition are doing and try and kind of hijack that? How do you go about getting referrals?
Well, there's various ways to do it, but this is what I do because I'm inherently lazy. So I always do the things that are most likely to work. So number one, what I do is I look at two things. I look at who do I currently work with who likes me? And then I look at who do I want to work with who doesn't know me yet? And I have these two lists. So everyone should have those two lists. Who currently likes you and who would you like to like you? And it's one of those things that I know everyone nodding will go, yes, of course. But have you got those lists? Do you have a list of your favorite contacts? So let's say with me, the person who likes me best is you, Robert. So I now know that I've got someone called Robert who likes me and will be happy to help me because he likes me. So now I need to go and initiate the referral because you're probably not going to ring up and say, Andy, I've got a piece of business for you. So I'm going to have to initiate it. So therefore, I've worked out who I'm going to speak to, which is you. And I know the list of people I want to speak to from my other list. So now I come up to you and I need my referral script. Now, different people do this in different ways, but my preferred way of doing this is I always start with the word favour or the word advice. So because we're jolly good friends, I could say, can I ask you a favour, please? And you'll say, yes, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
If we're not quite friends enough and it's more of a commercial thing, I might say, can I ask your advice? And you'll say, yes, of course. So either way, my first question, favour or advice, will get yes, of course from the other person. What I then do is if I'm talking to you, I would then say, the thing I want a favour with is this, Robert. There are these 4 companies I'm really itching to get into because I think I can help them make more sales in this AI world. So I'm very clear on who I want. So these 4 people. And I'm very clear on why they will benefit. So I don't say I want them because I want to fill my pipeline because I am struggling for sales. I say I want to speak to them because I can help them make more sales in the world they live in. So you're clear on who I want and why it's in their interest. So if I've used the word favour, can I ask you a favour? Yes, of course I can. I want these 4 people because I can help with this. And I wonder, would you feel comfortable introducing so many of these people if you know them? That's the favour. If I've gone with the word advice, the advice would be, these are the 4 companies I want. Do you know any of them? How would you advise I approach them? So can you see, if I ask for a favor, could you introduce me, or ask advice, how would you approach it? Almost always people will say, well, I'll introduce you, or let me see what I can do. And they will do this because of 2 things. Number one, they know exactly who I want because I've been clear with the 3 or 4 names. And they know that they will benefit. So they don't feel they're on commission for you. They don't say, I won't talk to my friend Andy because his pipeline's struggling a bit. They go, you know how you're knackered because AI is ruining everything for you in a sales world? Well, there's a guy I know who's an expert at helping people make sales in an AI world. I wonder if it's worth you having a little chat with him. He's really good at giving free advice on the phone. Maybe just take the call. And they go, oh, thanks, Robert. What a wonderful introduction that is. So that's what I mean by charming sales. So I'm not saying line my pocket. I'm saying, can you help your friends?
And what I love about that is there's a kind of a subliminal thing going on, which is the receiver of the request goes, yes, 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 yes. And that's that thing of just lulling. Sounds
I know
like
what you mean.
Relation.
Chain of yeses. Yes.
Yeah, you're getting that chain of yeses, which gets people to go, yeah. And I think what's extraordinary, because I think that's absolutely spot on. What I find extraordinary is that despite a relatively straightforward system that you've offered. Very few people actually follow through with it. Very few people actually do it. So can we just go back to that bit? Because why?
Yeah.
Well, what, you know, we're talking about really intelligent people who run businesses and they employ people and they do really cute stuff, you know, and they say, I have this problem, which is I have this problem with sales. And you say, well, you're actually sitting on this, it's like acres of diamonds thing. You're kind of sitting on this gold mine. If you did but know it, if you actually just spent 15 minutes of your time writing down a list of who are the 10 or 15 people you know who think you're great, and who are the 10 or 15 people you'd really like to get hold of. How hard can that be? So what's the fog? What's the thing that's holding people back from going, yes, Andy, you're spot on. I'm not having lunch with you. I'm going to go and I'm going to make that list right now. What's holding people back from doing that?
Sure. There's various things. So what we'll do is we'll do what's holding them back, and then we'll do, so what can you do about it? So there's various things that hold people back. One of them is just the word habit. And what I mean by habit is, I know it's quite a boring word and we've all heard the word habit, but we're all creatures of habit. I mean, that's how the brain works. It likes to automate stuff. When you clean your teeth in the morning, you don't think, how do I do this again? You just do it without thinking. Yep. And that's fine for cleaning your teeth. But it's not fine because when you go to work, because if you're in the habit of not asking for referrals, it wouldn't cross your mind to ask for referrals. Whereas with me, I'd probably ask for referrals like you clean your teeth. I don't think, should I ask for referrals today? Because I just do it because it's just part of my life. So you've got to get in the habit of doing it. Another thing is people often don't know the easy steps. Like I've just gone through the easy steps, do 2 lists. And I even said, start with the word favour. I mean, so you make it really easy to start. So a lot of people don't have that. But ultimately, when you say about following through, I mean, this is not just about sales. This is about life in general. If you want to become permanently good at something, there are 3 words that I always teach my customers, and they all end in ISE, eyes, and they're prioritise, diarise, socialise. Prioritise, diarise, socialise. This is what I mean by this. So let's say someone listening to us have a little chat now thinks, prioritise, I'm going to ask for referrals forevermore. Right? I'm going to prioritise that. That's better than sending 100,000 emails out a day to strangers and wonder why nobody replies. I'm going to do 2 referral conversations a week. That's it. I'm prioritising that. The next thing is diarise. People offer, there's a big thing that happens in business. People say, I don't have time to do it. I wanted to ask for referrals, but I don't have time. Yeah. And I always say, time's not about time. Time's about your diary. The things you have time to do are the things that are in your diary. Yep. So I bet you didn't have time to ask for referrals last week, but you did go to a stupid internal update meeting because that was in your diary.
And that's the Tom Peters "You Are Your Diary," which I just think is if you want to know what you do, just look at your diary for last week.
Yeah, that's right, and that is totally different than what you think you should be doing and what you know best practice is, and so on. Like your diary is absolutely a thing. And the trouble is, when people say I don't have time, it's like they abdicate responsibility. It's not my fault; it's time's fault. If there'd been 25 hours in the day, I would have asked for referrals like a good. No, you wouldn't. All right, so time is just an excuse. So you've got to prioritise, ask for referrals. Secondly, diarise, schedule time. So I do it Thursday morning. I want to do my day job, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I like that. I'm better on Thursday than I am Monday doing it. And also I know I'm better in the morning than the afternoon. So I put it in Thursday and I put it in Thursday morning. That works for me. And the final thing is socialise. And what I mean by socialise is this. Even if you put something in the diary, Robert, what can happen is if the diary reminder comes up, ask for referrals that you don't really feel comfortable doing. When you're in the middle of doing some work that you do like doing, you can just press snooze or dismiss because you don't want to do it. Yeah. So what you do is you socialise, you share it with someone you're a bit petrified of and say, check in with me every week to make sure I've done it. So when I wanted to start getting good at referrals, I said to my PA, every week, I want you to make sure I've asked for 2 referrals this week. You can ask me whatever way you like. And if I haven't done it, don't accept any of my bullshit at all. You just have to make me feel terrible. So the first week, she said, have you done it? I said, well, I wanted to, but I'll stop you there. I don't care. You're going to have to ask for 4 next week. Oh, okay. Next week, I'd done 3 instead of 4, but I thought it was quite good. And she said, you know, the parent line, I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. So I think she had quite a lot of fun with this. But now I ask for 2 a week without thinking about it. But I wouldn't have done if I hadn't prioritised, diarised, and socialised. Now, every single person listening to this will get the logic of that. But my question to you is, so what are you going to prioritise to help your business thrive? And therefore, when are you going to put it in your diary? And finally, who are you a bit traumatised by that you can socialise it with so they can tell you when they're disappointed with you?
I love. I mean, part of the mastermind thing, as you know, is you kind of get to the end of the day and you say, "What are your ahas?" And people go, "Oh, I was amazed by this and by that." Great. And what are your commitments? Not actions. What are your commitments? And they say, "Oh, we're going to do more sales." And you go, try again, with a little one or two numbers and dates around it. Oh, I commit to, and eventually they'll say their number, and then you'll say by when, and then you'll say, and how will we know you've done it? And they'll sign it. But what actually happens is, having spoken out loud, a bit like I'm going to give up smoking or stuff, they know that when they're next in the crowd, on the Slack group, someone's going to say, "Did you sack Flossie? Did you put your prices up? Did you make those 10 phone calls?" And I think we do need to figure out what it is that kind of triggers us. So for me, my professionalism is really, really important. So in the mastermind group that I'm in, I will always have done all the tasks I said I've done, even if it's 7 o'clock in the morning before the meeting. I just can't go in. I can't go into the group saying, "Well, guys, I said I was going to do 4 things and I've only done 2 of them." I have to have done it, and that's the thing that gets me to do the stuff. But it's obviously different for other people. I really want to talk, just moving on a bit, but it's actually all connected, because I think 95% of our clients, the problem is what I would describe as positioning. You could call it business strategy, you could call it focus, but why should people bother to buy from you when they could buy from the competition, when the competition's faster, smarter, brighter, cheaper, ruder? And in a way, the referrals conversation can't be done until you've figured out, I guess, what it is that you sell and why people should buy from you and what problem you're solving. I'd love to get your take on that, really.
I would be delighted to. This is my favorite thing to talk about. So if this drags on a bit, just tell me to shut up, because here we go. So I'm going to ask anyone listening to this, I'm going to be silent for 3 seconds. I want you to think of the answer to this question, and then I'm going to tell you what I think your answer should be. So my question is, what do you think is your agency's best selling point? Okay, there are your 3 seconds done. So what do you think is your agency's best selling point? Now, most people listening to this, in my experience, will say things like our expertise, our customer focus, our technology, our ability, our track record, our products, our services, our heritage, almost everyone thinks like that.
Buzzword bingo.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a number of problems with that. And the 2 main ones are, you're talking about the wrong person and the wrong time frame. Your customers don't want to hear about you talk about yourself. So if you say if your answer to my question is our anything, you're talking about yourself. And secondly, if you talk about our people, you're talking about the past and the present, because the people we've recruited in the past, or our technology we've developed in the past, or our suite of products that we've created in the past. So this is like the law firm that says their best selling point is, "We were founded in 1922. Brilliant. So I know how old you are. All right. Now, what I mean by wrong person and wrong time zone is the only 2 things your clients care about is the total opposite of that. They don't care about you, they care about themselves. And they don't care about your past, they care about their future. Yeah. So if you notice, when I introduced myself to start with, I said basically my job is to help people sell more. In other words, what happens in the future after me is my client sales go up. When I gave that example about referrals, I said, I want to speak to these 4 people, not to fill my pipeline. I want to speak to these 4 people who are struggling for sales in an AI ruining world. Yep. So everything about your messaging, your positioning should be what I call about the afters. In other words, why is the client better off after you? Yeah. So after the lawyer, I'm not going to jail. That's more interesting than the fact she was founded in 1922. After seeing the tax accountant, I'm going to pay less tax. After me, after your agency. So first thing with positioning is know what your afters are. So really think, why are people better off after us? I'll say 2 quick things about that, and then I'll shut up because I will rant about this. Once you know the afters, 2 things are, number 1, make sure you use client language, because people sometimes say, after working with us, you have a pioneering market-led solution.
Drives me mad. The number of agencies that work with B2B businesses. I mean, does anyone call themselves a B2B business? No, you don't. You call yourself an accountant or a solicitor or an architect, or you do not call yourself a B2B business. And yet people say, we work with B2B businesses. I find it And SMEs, don't start me on SMEs. Yeah, I am not an SME. I'm a growing business, an independent business. But SME is a phrase that's used by the government and banks and tells me that you have no idea what I really do. So anyone who says we work with B2Bs or SMEs, it just drives me bonkers. Keep going.
No, it's brilliant. No, I love this. I don't know if this is a chat or two old men shouting at each other, shouting at clouds, Robert. So I'm with you there. I feel your pain with that one. So first you've got to use client language. So you don't say a stratospheric, whatever. You just say, help people make more sales in a new market, or, help people get their new technology launched across Asia. You just use language. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is what I call afters early. And so once you know these afters, you want to say them as early as you can in your conversation. So I'm talking with one of my clients at the minute, and what they want to do is they want to increase their sales by 20%. That's the number we've agreed. That's what we talked about. So after me, they want their sales to be 20% higher. So all my positioning, all my marketing has to focus on their sales being 20% higher. So when I first sent them a proposal, it wasn't called Andy Bound's proposal. It was called proposal confirming how we'll increase your sales by 20%. When we had a meeting, it wasn't called Andy Bound's catch up. I hate the word catch up. Yeah, it wasn't called. It was meeting to agree the first steps of increasing our sales by 20%.
Right.
Yeah. When we have a meeting, out of my mouth, I say, so we're all here because we want your sales to go up by 20%. Well, I've had a couple of new thoughts that will help. So I use the afters and the word new. And I say I've had a couple of new thoughts. People go, what are they? And they're now listening. They're not saying, yes, but when were you founded? Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that once you've got these afters in this client-rich language, put them at the start of everything, like meeting titles, proposal title, your elevator pitch, So if someone comes up to you and says, what do you do? And they say, I'm a digital agency and we specialize in B2B. I'm just thinking, I was going to say, kill me now, not kill me, kill you now. I want to live. Don't want to hear your bloody elevator pitch. Yeah.
In a way, you can do that if you've got some clarity, like your Andy Bounds. For the last umpty years, you've gone into businesses, you figured out how much you can increase their sales. You've increased their sales.
Yeah.
My sense, more than my sense, my knowledge is that in the digital agency land, although there's all this, we can validate, we can prove the numbers, blah, 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 blah. There's a sense that we don't really know what we can do. Sometimes the magic works, sometimes the magic doesn't work. Sometimes we increase sales by 50%, sometimes it's 10%, sometimes we get cost of customer acquisition at £50, sometimes it's £25. Because there's a lack of certainty, agencies either back off and do the we'll make your business better for you type sort of bland phrase, which means nothing. Mm-hmm. Or alternatively, they go to the other extreme, which is part of the problem of agencies, is that all the competition are making outlandish claims, which they don't make, which means that most people go to a new agency because they're just a bit less shit than the last one. The last one promised me 100% increase in sales. It didn't do that.
Yeah, so I think two things about that, Robert. One of them is you don't have to use numbers. So I shouldn't use that as an example, sales up by 20%, really, because that way everyone will latch onto the number. You don't have to use a number. So you can say, we can help increase your sales rather than I guarantee sales will go up by 20%. So be careful with the number. You don't have to give a number. It's direction of travel more than, And the other thing is be careful with your verb. So I could say to someone, I can help you be in the right position to win this deal. So help is better than I guarantee you will destroy the competition. So be careful with your verb. That's the important thing.
So you kind of going against the Alex Hormozy, there are 22 different guarantees that you can use, and you can find one of these guarantees to reduce the resistance to the sale type.
Well, no, I'm not going to guarantee the results, but I will guarantee other things. Yeah. So if someone says, can you guarantee I'm going to win this sale? So no, of course I can't. Like if the customer halves their price, you're knackered. But what I can guarantee is this. I will tell you step by step the best way to win this. And I know it's the best way to win this because over the last 15 years, I've helped people win over £10 billion of sales. I can guarantee that I'll give you the dedication of work where you almost can't believe that I'm thinking about this more than you are. I can guarantee that. Can I guarantee you'll win? No, of course I can't. So what I can do is I'm agreeing the afters the direction of travel using a verb I'm happy to use, and I'll guarantee all the things I can control. So I sort of like words guarantee, but I'm never going to guarantee an output. And anyone who can guarantee an output is full of shit.
Yeah. Well, we know that.
Yes, right. Yeah. Again, I seem to feel that quite strongly. Oh, this is brilliant. It's having a right fine old time here.
The rest of the day, it's like meditation or therapy. I'm not quite sure which.
Yeah, you don't have to share this recording with anybody. It just makes me feel better.
It feels much better. I'll get a bottle of red wine and we can just continue. but the positioning, we still haven't kind of nailed in this positioning thing, because when you're what we hear all the time is, the world is oversaturated with Me Too's, similar looking agencies offering similar stuff. Now, I can't tell you how much I'm with you when I go to a website and the first word is we. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
how can it be about you? Yeah, we are award winning. By the way, I googled it. 232,350 agencies claim to be award winning on their opening page. So how is that a differentiator? Like, we're the number one in Basingstoke.
But only on a Wednesday.
In 1997. But how, is it our job to position ourselves? Is that an internal job? What the heck is it that we do for people that delivers awesome value? Or is it a kind of an external job? So it's more like the value proposition, where we have to find a way of explaining to people what we do so that they understand what's going on. Do you get the question?
Yeah, I do get the question. So with the positioning, I had my afters rant. Like, first thing is you have to focus on the afters. Your second sentence then needs to prove that you can do it differently and better than other people. Yeah. So if I say something like, yes, I can help you win this deal, you're going to say, well, everyone would say that. Where's your proof? So your second sentence then needs to give it a bit of evidence. And it is worth this when you're talking to external people, but also your internal colleagues as well. So if you say to your colleagues in your digital agency, we are the best agency in the legal sector and we can help legal sectors make more sales more quickly, I would fully expect your colleagues to say, how can we say that? Where's the proof? Yeah. So there's various ways that you can prove it. Usually what people do to prove it is they talk about their deliverables. Well, we've got like a 7-step process and we've got this and that. Yeah. My preferred way to do this, I'll just run through these quickly, Rob, and take any time you want, is I think of the word stun, S-T-U-N. So my favorite way to prove, so the second sentence of my positioning, so I start with the afters, I can help you sell more. And then my second sentence, I'm going to use one or more of stun, and S-T-U-N. The S stands for stories. So I might say, for example, you've got this big deal. It's very similar to a deal I helped one of the major banks with a couple of years ago, and that was worth £2.5 billion, and they won it. So that's a great way to prove I can do it. So I'm not talking about my deliverables. We'll do a 7-step workshop and a 9-step this. It's like, here's a story, I've done it before. The T of stun stands for teaching. So this is basically what the Challenger sales all about, like challenge their thinking, teach them something. So in that, if you say, so when you've got a sales pitch like you've got here, let me say the 3 things most people get wrong when they do a sales pitch. And you teach them that and the client goes, well, I never knew that. Well, instantly you're elevating yourself, because if they never knew that, means nobody else has taught them. So S is stories, T is teaching, U is unique. There may be something unique about you. Probably isn't, to be honest. But if there is something unique, so for example, my mum is blind, so the person who told me to speak can't see, so I'm hopefully good at explaining things. Now that's pretty unique. I don't know any other sales trainers with a blind mum. And finally, N, the N stands for now. People like pace. So one thing I'll always talk about is I'll say things like, even when we're doing something as complicated as this, there are some quick wins that you can make in a couple of days. So I would like to promise you 2 days from now, you'll have 5 things you haven't currently got. Now, most people don't talk like that. So I'm not saying you have to do all of stun, but if your opening sentence is about your afters, I can help you sell more. And then, for example, you tell a story, or you teach them something, or you say, I've got a blind mum, or you give them some quick wins now, then that helps elevate you. And I promise you, you're better off doing afters and then stun, rather than saying we're a market leading whatever, and here's our 7-step process.
Where are you on? I'd be quite interested to know. That's fabulous. And I'm just processing that and trying to just get as much into this 45 minutes as I can. I'd be quite interested. You talked about challenger brands.
Yeah.
Now, challenger sales. Challenger sales, I always think is a bit like there's kind of various stages of sales. There's the megaphone saying, "Buy from me, buy from me," and then we get a bit more subtle. Here you go. Have a mouse mat. Have a white paper. Have all the information you need. Now, the extension to the challenger sales from Gartner was this idea of sense making. Yeah, that it's a very, very complicated world. And what people need more than anything else is a guide, someone with a map to simplify and explain how to make the purchase and the benefits, and hopefully you'll pick me. I was just wondering where you stood on that sort of sense maker idea of being the wizened, wise advisor to someone who's about to make a purchase, as opposed to putting yourself in front of them and saying you need to buy from them right now.
Oh, yeah, I hate that you need to buy from me right now. I much prefer the second approach. I noticed when you said it, actually, you just stroked your chin in a wise way. I don't know if you knew that when you said the word wise. There you go. It's very good. I like that. The challenger sale, there's various ways you can describe it. I just like using the word teaching. That's what it means, to teaching. So my aim always is to say something so that the client goes, well, I never knew that. Yeah, I never knew that. And then when they go, I never knew that, and you say, so for example, if someone wants me to do some masterclasses for them and they say, we really want this and we really want this, almost always I'll say, what I'm hearing is what you really want is habit change, because you want people to be better a year later than you are now. Is that right? And they go, oh, I never thought about it like that. And straight away I think I'm probably going to win this because they said that sentence. So you always want to teach people things. That's really important. Once there is a sense of they might want to work with you, this idea about guiding them, my favorite way to close actually is I use the word easy, only, and a number. So I say, so the good news is, should we work together? It's really easy for us to get started. In fact, there's only 3 things we need to do. And I love that. So yes, so early on in the conversation, I do the afters, I do the stun, and I teach them. They go, we never thought about that before. At the end of the conversation, when it looks like they might buy something, I say, good, sounds like we're agreed. Well, that's really good because it's dead easy. There's only 3 things that we need to do so we can make a start. Let me just explain what they are and we can agree timelines. And so it's this guiding, it's not conflicting me against them. This is what I mean by charming sales. I think sales are, you find the afters they want, and then you jointly hold hands and skip merrily towards the afters together. It's a collegiate, friendly, lovely thing. So this idea of it's really easy. There's only 3 things we've got to do now. It's a bit like anyone listening to this for referrals. If you want to be good at referrals, it's really easy. There are only 3 things you've got to do. Number 1, get your script. Number 2, know who you're going to speak to. Number 3, put it in your diary.
See what you did there.
Do you like that?
I agree 100% with everything you say. I'm still left with this feeling that people don't, it's not you, Andy, it's that they don't quite believe what they're hearing. They can't believe that, obviously they need to spend more than 30 minutes on a podcast and have the nuance and the subtlety of your approach.
Yeah.
But there's still I still get this sense that, people they listen to podcasts, they read books, or they don't read books. They read the first 10 pages of books, and including your marvelous ones, and they still fail. Maybe just going back to this thing of habit, they still fail to make this connection, this engagement. And is it just really old school habit stuff, like the reason you're overweight is you don't do any exercise and you eat too much food? Yeah, the reason you have a problem with alcohol is because you drink too much alcohol. Or is there something almost in the way people's brains are wired that they still want to do it their way, despite they're given a common sense approach, but it's not the way that I do it, or I think I can do it different because I'm a bit of a rebel. What's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things. I've studied this quite a lot, really, and you're dead right. two people chatting on a podcast is not going to change anyone's life. I mean, that's why I don't just say to people, just listen to this one podcast that I've done with Robert and you'll be fine forever. I mean, it does take a bit more nuance and subtlety and so on. But the general rule is the same. If you want to be permanently better, you have to change your habits. Yeah. So all these words mean similar things: habits, long-term, permanent, and so on. I see a hypnotist once a month, sometimes more often, because I always want to make sure I'm focusing on the right things. And she described the way your brain works really simply. I'm sure that other people have said this, but it's the first time I'd heard this. And she said that the way your brain works, imagine that you're at the top of a mountain with pure snow everywhere, and you can ski down any direction you want. You're not quite sure where to go, but you just ski down one path. And then you teleport back to the top of the mountain. You can go anywhere. Well, you'll probably just go down the same path again. And after you've done that 500 times, you'll have some really deep ridges, and it will be stupid to ski in any other way. Well, that's how your brain works. That's what the neural pathway is. So if you have spent days and days and months and years becoming exceptional at not asking for referrals, you know, you might ask for referrals one week, but it's really easy just to drift back to your ski path the next week. Yeah. And so when you are doing that third eyes, the socialise, I mean, so much of my work with customers is I'm the person they socialise it with. So when we're trying to embed this new stuff, I'm the one who every Friday goes, have you done it? Have you done it? Have you done it? Have you done it? And it sounds in some ways like they shouldn't really pay for that, Andy. They should be able to do it themselves. Go, yeah, but they can't. They can't. And anyone listening to this, we've all tried to lose weight or stop drinking or stop smoking or like get more referrals. Choose your thing you wish you were changing the habits of. And we've all tried it, but we tend to drift back. And so you've got to fight that. And the only way to fight that is you need someone else. Again, this is one of the reasons I see a hypnotist now, because a few years ago, I was struggling a bit with my weight. And I thought, why is it I'm really good at dieting for usually 8 days? Like, I'm brilliant. I sometimes get to 9, never got double figures ever. But why am I really good at this for 8 days? I'm not stupid. Why am I so stupid? And why am I sitting there eating cake thinking I probably shouldn't eat this cake? It's just stupid. And so that's the first reason I went, to try and break these neural pathways. And they're hard because they're so entrenched. Like tomorrow morning, try and clean your teeth with your right hand instead of your left hand. It's just impossible. So you have to work harder than you think you have to work at embedding this stuff. And so when we do long-term programs with people, we do 3 things, beginning with E. We start off engaging everyone. Then we do the education. And the third step, which is the big one, is embedding. And so educate after engagement, but embedding is the big thing. And so often when people call in someone like me, they say, oh, could you do a lunch and learn, or could you do a keynote? And that should probably change our business forever. No, it won't. Someone's going to have to embed it.
But someone else is going to turn up and say, I'll give you my 5 E's or C's or T's or whatever they are.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Everyone's got their own thing, but I don't care what you call it, unless you've got an embedding phase and you strategically think about how you're going to do this. I bet every single person listening to this could ask for a referral today. Yeah. But I bet not everyone would still be asking referrals in January next year, unless they put something in the diary and unless someone holds them to account. Yeah,
and I've got a, similar to yours, a referrals process that I ask people to go through, which is really, really simple. It's a spreadsheety bit of it. It's a processy bit of it. And I say, here's the script, here's the script, this is, and you know that 9 out of 10 people won't actually do it. 9 out of 10 people will not actually, inverted commas, ask for the business at the end with the final closing line. And it's like, that's brilliant. That's brilliant, because 1 out of 10 of you is going to do this, and you're going to be way ahead of everyone else. And everyone's going, yeah, you're probably right. As opposed to, what can I do to make this happen? And the other thing, just while we're on the habit thing, is this self-sabotage thing that people, what are you going to do? Okay, how are you going to sabotage it? And then people go, oh, I'll probably, in order to stop drinking, I'll probably go to the pub to meet my mates on a Saturday. It's like, really? Yeah. Or my wife's favorite one, I'm going on a diet. Fantastic. Suddenly the biscuit tin is full. It's like, what have you done? And it's like, well, I thought you might like some. No. Take biscuits out of the house. You don't need to have biscuits. Well, I just find it unbelievable how that sabotage thing, unbelievable. So we've been a long time. What is it that you think if you got £1 for every time you said it, that you'd be a multi-millionaire. What is the thing that you wish you could tattoo on people's foreheads to kind of get into their heads? It could be just a one-liner, or it could be a little tirade. I really don't mind, but it's really
okay. So it depends what the topic is, but afters early is I can't think of someone I've worked with when I haven't said the word afters early at some point. Unless you tell me why I'm better off after you, I don't know why I'm better off after you, in which case I'm just not going to use you. It sounds so obvious. And every digital agency I've ever worked with, when I have a look at their homepages or their proposals or whatever, they don't put afters early. The afters are somewhere, but they're usually lower down. Yeah. So afters early, that's one. Bloody ask for bloody referrals, and don't tell me you should be doing, just bloody ask for them. That's quite a good one. Another one which we haven't spoken about yet, but let's just talk about this, is what I call first step. And what I mean by first step, Robert, is you can come up with lots of things you think you ought to do in your agency, like we should be more customer centric, for example. Yeah. And I always say, okay, so what's your first step? And you go, well, and then they just repeat the words in a different order. You say, well, we just need to be centric around customers. You go, that's just the same word. Like, what do you actually mean? What's your very, very first step? Well, we need to do more customer-centric stuff. Like what? With who? So I'll tell you what I think your first step is. Go and print off a customer list and tell me the name of someone who you could add more value to than you are doing. There you go. Print it off, highlight someone's name, and tell me how you can. That's your first step. So if you want to ask for referrals, first step, print off your customer list and highlight someone who likes you. That'll start you off. Yeah. If you want to be better at this afters early, go to your current proposal template, which is currently called Our Proposal, and change it to Our Proposal, how we will help you to insert after. Yeah, that's your first step. And if you get your first step right, you've started. I once heard someone cleverer than me say, ambiguity is the enemy of pace. I thought, ambiguity is the enemy of pace. If something's ambiguous, it's no. I thought, oh yeah, what they mean using small words is, if you don't know where to start, you won't start. I like small words. I'm not very clever. Right? If you don't know where to start, you won't start. So if you want to be good at asking for referrals, you need to print off your customer list to start with. Otherwise, you're knackered. Yeah. And then you need to get a script with the word favour or advice in, or you're knackered. If you want to be more afters early, you've got to change or you're knackered. Yeah. And I love this idea of first steps. So when you're doing your, I can't remember what you call them, sorry, when you mastermind things, and you're saying to people, so what are your commitments? One of the questions I always ask is, and excuse my ignorance, but what is your very, very first step you're going to do? The unfailable, cannot mess it up step. And they'll sometimes say, well, I'll just ask for referral. That's not the first step. I'll just be more customer centric forever. That's not the first step. That's a happy thought.
Yeah, that's just, yeah. I think our time's up, which is shocking for everyone listening and taking part. But it's been a real pleasure. And I mean, for those of you who don't know you, there are books on my shelves. Not such new books, some of them.
They've been around a while, but they all mention the word afters, should anyone be concerned about them.
Exactly. And I think the loop and the proof of the pudding is, two of our clients who we really respect, we go, oh, it's Andy Pounds in the room next door. Never heard that before. Never heard that about anyone else before. So people need to check you out. And I'll just leave it with you just to close off the call, really, with whatever you wish to say to agency leaders who've been listening or are trying to figure out how to get more sales.
Okay, so how about this for an idea then? Yes, I mean, you mentioned the books and so on, but probably cheaper and quicker and easier is just find me on LinkedIn. I post stuff most days and it's always free. I think it's strategic searing insights and advice, but most people just think it's verbal puke and I just like to get stuff out. So I always like creating stuff and giving stuff away for free. So you're very welcome. I can't believe someone listening to this won't have any follow-up questions or want to add the nuance and subtlety you talked about. So just like DM me give me your contact details. We'll have a chat. It's all like free. It's all lovely. And you know, I'm probably going to do the T of stun. I'll probably try and teach. So if anyone does want to follow up and ask me any questions, LinkedIn's usually the easiest way to come through to me. But apart from that, I've just really enjoyed it. And let's go with the first step. How much of what we've talked about would I advise people to use, Robert? How about more than none? There we go. Just use more than none of this.
More than none. Yeah, I think that's absolutely great. Andy Bounds, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for a 45 minutes packed full of value bombs. I have notes here. I'm sure everyone else has notes, and it's just for me to say just a really big thank you for being a lovely person with some lovely, fantastic, actionable ideas. Thank you very much for being our guest.
Yeah, nice one. You're welcome.